The red roses hit the marble floor at the exact same moment. 2 dozen from the left, 2 dozen from the right, both bouquets landing at her feet in perfect synchronization. Yara looked up from scrubbing the grand staircase to find both Park brothers standing on opposite sides of the foyer, staring at each other with barely controlled frustration. Junho, the older one at 30, sophisticated and composed in his tailored navy suit, freshly returned from his morning hospital rounds. Minwoo, the younger at 27, warm and gentle in his teaching clothes, clearly having rushed from the university where he lectured. Both holding identical heart-shaped boxes of chocolates. Both having arrived at the exact same moment with the exact same intention. It was Valentine's Day morning, and the two sons of Korea's most prominent medical family had just realized they were in love with the same woman. Her. The Ethiopian housekeeper who was supposed to be invisible. "Those are for you," Junho said, his voice carefully controlled as he gestured to his roses, the deep red ones with the silver ribbon.
These are for you.
"So are those," Minwoo added softly, pointing to his bouquet, pink-tipped roses with a cream ribbon. Yara looked between the different flowers, the brothers who shared a face, but not a personality, and the identical expressions of nervous hope mixed with sibling rivalry on their faces. "I'm working," she said simply, wringing out her cleaning rag. "You should give those to someone appropriate." She returned to scrubbing the stairs. Behind her, she could hear the brothers' shocked silence. No one said no to the Park heirs. No one walked away from their attention. But Yara wasn't just anyone. And this Valentine's Day was about to become the most romantic, most emotional, most life-changing day any of them had ever experienced. If you believe love can bloom in the most unexpected places, hit that subscribe button right now, because this is a story about a woman who had two incredible men fighting for her heart and made the choice that changed all their lives. Drop a comment telling me which brother sounds perfect to you. And smash that like button if you love a Valentine's Day romance that will make your heart ache in the best way. Okay. Yara Tades had been working at the Park family's estate for 8 months. She needed the job desperately. Her student visa was running out, she was putting herself through nursing school, and the generous pay allowed her to send money home to her sick mother in Addis Ababa. The Park family were medical royalty in Seoul. 3 generations of renowned surgeons and researchers. Wealth built on saving lives, not just making money. She'd kept her head down. Did her work. Stayed invisible. That was the rule for household stuff. She'd noticed Junho first, of course. Dr. Park Junho, cardiac surgeon, following in his father's prestigious footsteps. Brilliant, dedicated, carrying the weight of family expectations like a crown he'd never asked for. He left for the hospital before dawn and returned after dark, still in his scrubs, exhausted but never complaining. He'd spoken to her exactly 3 times in 8 months. Once to ask if she'd seen his medical journal. Once to thank her for organizing his study. Once to tell her the coffee she'd left by his research papers had been exactly what he needed. Each time, his eyes had held hers a moment longer than necessary. Minwoo was different. Professor Park Minwoo, literature and philosophy at Seoul National University. The gentle one who'd chosen books over scalpels, who gave lectures on poetry while his brother performed surgeries. The family disappointment wrapped in kindness and quiet strength. He'd talked to her often. Always respectful. Always interested in her life, her studies, her dreams. He'd helped her practice Korean medical terminology for her classes. Lent her books. Made her laugh on hard days. She'd kept both brothers at a careful distance. But somewhere along the way, without planning it, things had shifted. 3 weeks ago, Junho had found her in the library late at night, crying over her anatomy textbook. She'd failed a practice exam. "What's wrong?" His voice had been gentle, not the crisp doctor voice he used with everyone else. "Nothing, sir." "I'm sorry for disturbing." "I'm not disturbed. I'm concerned. Talk to me." Something in his exhausted sincerity made her answer honestly. "I'm struggling with cardiology. I keep failing the practice tests. I'm going to lose my scholarship if I don't pass." He'd sat down across from her. "Show me what you don't understand." They'd studied together until 3 in the morning. He'd explained complex cardiac systems with patience and clarity, using real examples from his surgeries. When she finally understood, his smile had been worth more than any grade. "You're brilliant," he'd said as dawn broke. "Don't let one test make you doubt that. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for reminding me why I became a doctor. I'd forgotten, somewhere between the politics and the pressure. But watching you fight for your dream? That's what medicine should be about." Since that night, he'd left her study materials. Notes from his own medical school days. Books with passages highlighted. Messages saying, "You've got this." Minwoo's moment had come 2 weeks ago. She'd mentioned loving poetry, but never having time to read it anymore. The next day, he'd started leaving poems on her cleaning cart. Beautiful verses about strength and hope and finding light in darkness. And then, one day, a poem he'd written himself. About an Ethiopian sunrise he'd never seen but imagined through her descriptions. About strength wearing a quiet face. About beauty that doesn't know it's beautiful. "You wrote this?" she'd asked, finding him in the garden. "About you. I hope that's not inappropriate. It's beautiful. So are you. Not just physically. Though you are. But the way you work 3 jobs and still study. The way you talk about your mother with such love. The way you see good in everything. You make me want to write again. Really write. Not just lecture about other people's words." They'd talked for hours that day. About literature and life and following your heart even when it disappoints others. About being the different son, the gentle one, the one who chose compassion over prestige. "You're not a disappointment," she'd said. "You're teaching the next generation to think, to feel, to understand humanity. That's just as important as surgery." He'd looked at her like she'd given him something precious. "No one's ever seen it that way. Everyone asks when I'm going to grow up and join the family practice. You're already doing important work. Just different work." Since then, he'd been different around her. More open. Leaving her favorite coffee with literary quotes written on the cup. Asking about her day like it was the most interesting story he'd heard. Looking at her like she was poetry come to life. She'd felt it happening with both of them. The shift. The attraction. The dangerous territory of caring too much about 2 men who were as different as night and day, but equally impossible to resist. And then Valentine's Day arrived. After the rose incident, both brothers disappeared. Junho to the hospital for emergency surgery. Minwoo to his university office hours. The roses remained on the floor, a beautiful mess of competing affection. Yara tried to work. Failed. Her heart wouldn't stop racing. At lunch, she found an envelope on her cleaning cart. Junho's precise handwriting. Inside, a card that read, "I'm not good with words. I'm better with actions. But you deserve words too. You make me remember why I wanted to save lives. Because lives like yours, full of determination and grace, are worth saving. Would you let me take you to dinner? Not as your employer. As someone who would very much like to know you better. JH." She was still holding it when Minwoo appeared with a picnic basket. "I know you have a break at 2, he said quietly. "I thought we could share it. Just talk. Unless you'd rather not. I'll understand if." "Minwoo. I'm in love with you, Yara. I know I shouldn't be. I know you work for my family. I know it's complicated. But I am. I have been for months. You make me feel like being gentle is a strength, not a weakness. You make me want to write you into every poem. You make me—" "Stop." Her voice was gentle but firm. "Please." He looked stricken. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. It's not that. It's just—" "Junho." Understanding dawned on his face. Then sadness. "He told you too." "Not told. Asked. For dinner." "And what did you say?" "I haven't answered yet. Because I don't know what to say. To either of you." They stood in the garden, the picnic basket between them, the weight of impossible feelings heavy in the air. "You care for him," Minwoo said. "Not a question. I care for both of you. Differently. But equally. And it's tearing me apart. Then we'll make it easy. Choose. Not today. Not under pressure. But choose. Who do you want?" "I can't." "You can. You have to. Because Junho and we're brothers. We love each other. This situation will destroy us if we let it. So you choose. And whoever you don't choose, we'll accept it. We'll move on. No drama. No resentment. Just acceptance. That's not fair to any of us. Nothing about love is fair. That evening, both brothers were home for the family Valentine's dinner. Their parents, renowned surgeons both, presided over a formal meal discussing medical journals and hospital politics. Junho and Minwoo sat on opposite ends of the table, both quiet, both stealing glances at the doorway where staff occasionally appeared. After dinner, their mother called them to the library. "Your father and I are concerned," she said. "You're both acting strange. Is something wrong?" Silence. Then Junho spoke. "We're both in love with the same woman." Their mother's eyebrows rose. "Who?" "Yara. The housekeeper." Their father set down his wine. "That's inappropriate." "Is it?" Minwoo's voice was calm but firm. "She's intelligent, kind, studying to be a nurse. She's everything we raised us to value. The only thing inappropriate is her employment status." "Which is precisely the problem," their mother said. "The power dynamic would disappear if she quit," Junho interrupted. "Which she would have to do if either of us pursued this. We're not asking permission. We're informing you. One of us will be dating her. We just don't know which one yet." "This is absurd," their father said. "You're both successful men. You could have anyone." "We want her," both brothers said simultaneously. Their parents looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. "Then do it right," their mother finally said. "No pressure. No using your positions. Let her choose freely. And whoever she doesn't choose, you accept it gracefully." "We will," Minwoo promised. Late that night, Yara was finishing her shift when she found both brothers waiting in the garden. It was midnight. Valentine's Day was technically over. "We need to talk," Junho said. "All of us." They sat on a bench, her between them, the night air cold and clear. "I'm going to be honest," Junho began. "I'm not good at this. Relationships. Emotions. I spend 16 hours a day in an operating room cutting open hearts and fixing them. But I don't know how to fix my own. Until you. You make me feel things I didn't know I could feel." "I'm better with emotions," Minwoo said. "But worse at showing them to the right person. I write about love, but I've never felt it like this. You challenged me to be more than the gentle son who disappoints everyone. You make me want to be brave. Why are you both telling me this?" Yara asked, her voice shaking. "Because we decided something," Junho said. "We're not going to compete. We're not going to try to win you. We're going to be honest. Show you who we really are. And you're going to choose. Based on truth, not games." "I don't want to choose," she whispered. "I don't want to hurt either of you." "You will hurt one of us," Minwoo said gently. "That's inevitable. But you'll hurt both of us more if you choose neither because you're afraid of choosing wrong. So take your time," Junho added. "Get to know us. Really know us. Not as employers or untouchable sons of the Park family. Just as Junho and Minwoo. Two men who love you." Over the next month, Yara did exactly that. She quit her job as their housekeeper, insisted on it, despite their protests. Took a position at the hospital where Junho worked, in a different department. Removed the power dynamic. Made it fair. Junho took her to dinner. Not fancy restaurants. Hospital cafeterias after his shifts. Late-night food carts. Real conversations about stress and dreams and fear and hope. He told her about the pressure of being the heir. The exhaustion of constantly saving lives while neglecting his own. The loneliness of excellence. "I'm tired," he admitted one night. "Of being perfect. Of being what everyone needs. With you, I can just be tired. And somehow that feels like healing. You don't have to be perfect with me." "I know. That's why I'm falling harder every day." Minwoo took her to bookshops and poetry readings. Made her laugh with his literary jokes. Showed her his secret writing, the novel he'd been working on for 5 years about a woman who teaches a man what strength really means. "It's based on you," he admitted. "I started it before I even met you. And then you appeared and became every strong, gentle, fierce woman I'd ever tried to write." "That's beautiful. You're beautiful. Inside and out. You make me believe in the words I teach." She fell for both of them. In different ways. Junho's quiet intensity and unexpected vulnerability. Minwoo's gentle strength and creative soul. How do you choose between two kinds of perfect? 6 weeks after Valentine's Day, she knew she had to decide. She called them both. Meet me at the park. Tomorrow. Noon. They arrived separately. Both nervous. Both trying to hide it. I've made my choice, Yara said, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. And it wasn't easy. You're both incredible. Both exactly what I didn't know I needed. But Junho's voice was tight. But I choose Minwoo. Junho closed his eyes. Minwoo looked shocked. Why? Junho asked. I need to know why. Because you're married to your work, Yara said gently. And you should be. You save lives. You're brilliant at it. But I need someone who has time for me. Who won't cancel dinner for emergencies. Who can be present. Minwoo can give me that. I would make time. No. You wouldn't. Not really. Your patients need you more than I do. And that's okay. That's who you are. But I can't be the person waiting at home wondering if you'll make it to dinner. I grew up with a sick mother. I know what it's like to wait for doctors. I can't marry one. Junho nodded slowly. You're right. I hate it. But you're right. I'm sorry. Don't be. You chose honestly. I respect that. He looked at Minwoo. Take care of her. I will. Junho walked away. Not bitter. Just accepting. Minwoo turned to Yara. Are you sure? You don't have to choose me just because I have more time. I'm not. I'm choosing you because when I think about my future, I see us reading together. Talking for hours. Building a life of quiet moments and deep conversations. I see partnership. With Junho, I'd always be second to surgery. With you, I'm the poem you want to write. He pulled her close. Kissed her like she was air and he'd been drowning. I'll spend every day proving that choice was right. I'll hold you to that. They married a year later. Small ceremony. Junho was his brother's best man. Their parents, initially skeptical, came to adore Yara's determination and grace. Dr. Yara Park graduated nursing school and worked alongside her husband at the University Medical Center. He taught. She healed. They built a life of books and care and love that grew deeper every day. Junho found someone too. A fellow surgeon who understood emergency calls and missed dinners. Someone who matched his intensity. 3 years after that Valentine's Day, Yara ran into Junho at the hospital. You look happy, he said. I am. You too. I am. You chose right, you know. Minwoo gives you the life you needed. I couldn't have. You gave me something too. You showed me I was worth fighting for. That helped me choose myself first, then choose him. That's all I wanted. Your happiness. She hugged him. Thank you for loving me enough to let me go. Thank you for loving me enough to be honest. They parted as friends. As family. As two people who'd loved well even if it wasn't forever. Because sometimes the best love stories are the ones where everyone ends up exactly where they're meant to be. Where choosing one person doesn't diminish the love you felt for another. Where honesty heals instead of hurts. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me if you think she chose right. And smash that like button if you believe the best romances are the ones built on truth, not fantasy. She was just a maid. Until two brothers showed her she was so much more. And in choosing honestly, she gave all three of them the gift of real, lasting love.